Welcome back. Today we're doing a bit of a different format for our videos. In fact, this is the pilot episode of the Ask EVGA series. In this, we want you, the community, to ask us questions you have for EVGA. And we can show you that maybe we're not just a corporate entity, and we have a little bit of life in us. So let's go ahead and start with our first question. Now, these questions are mostly based off of what Joseph and I have seen over years of being in customer service and the kind of questions that we get when customers call in. These are not ones from the community yet, but we'll add those in future videos. First question for Joseph. Is it normal for the fans on my graphics card to not spin?
Yeah, on some versions of graphics cards we have a 0 dB mode, which actually determines that the fans will not spin unless a certain temperature is reached on the GPU itself. That started, I believe, with the 900 series, is that correct?
ACX 2.0, I think, was the first one, so that would have been around 900 series.
Around 900 series, yeah, that's when we started introducing the 0 dB mode. So yes, the answer is some do have that mode and some don't. Generally, with most of the 900 series and after cards, they will have a 0 dB mode if they're high-end.
And we should also say on some of the cards, if it's a dual BIOS card, if you go to the slave BIOS, like on a 1080 FTW, for example, look at the photo here, you'll notice that there's actually a BIOS switch, and you can use that to also disable the idle stop if you want the fans running all the time the computer's running. Okay, great.
Okay, the next question, we covered this one a little bit before, but we'll address it again. Does overclocking void the warranty?
Okay, so I can't talk for all manufacturers. I can really only speak for EVGA. So when you build a computer, even if you put as many EVGA components in it as possible, there's going to be some other manufacturer's components. So that will affect it a little bit. For EVGA, overclocking is perfectly fine, so long as you're not hardware modifying your device to the point that you can't restore it to factory condition. So if you're the kind of person where you're doing extreme overclocking, you're tearing apart your card and it's never going to get back together correctly, then that would be a little bit different. But for most people who are going to open up Precision X, they're going to mess with the sliders, even if something were to go wrong because of that, that's okay. And we honestly don't believe that you'll have any issues using Precision X in one of the modern graphics cards, just because you're fairly locked down on what you can actually do. CPUs, that's something that you might have a little bit more of an issue with, but that shouldn't affect your warranty with EVGA for your motherboard in any way. In fact, I think our new manuals, last time I checked the X299 manual, there's a large section about how overclocking doesn't void your warranty, and we do give you some helpful tips on how you want to do it. Next question, it's actually a follow-up to that question, and I kind of played around with it a little bit, but I'll let Joseph do the rest of it. Can overclocking damage my hardware?
Okay, for this, it's pretty difficult for overclocking to damage a modern GPU, like you had just said. GPUs, in the past, the tendency was overvolting was going to sort of damage the card, or would be the most likely thing to damage the card. Today, that's pretty locked down. It's set by NVIDIA, but they lock down the voltage so that you can't just ridiculously set it up. Yes, it will sort of lower the lifespan of your GPU over time if you're doing something like extreme overclocking, but in general, overclocking is not really going to do any damage.
Yeah, it shouldn't do much. I think the only time where you can still potentially do damage with overclocking is more so with motherboards and CPUs.
Yeah.
Because usually for CPUs you can set whatever voltage you want. So if you've got a brand new i7 and you're saying, I'm going to put 2 volts into it, yeah, that will kill it. So you have to be a little bit careful on that side of it, but the GPU side is actually pretty safe.
Yeah. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, well, okay, so this one, what happens if my water cooler leaks as it pertains to warranty? A lot of people ask that question.
We do get that. We now sell an AIO series with CLCs, and there's a lot of manufacturers who sell AIOs. In fact, we also have AIOs on our hybrid cards. So we do have water cooling components. I will say leaks in general from those closed loop systems are extremely rare. It's not something that we say, yeah, it totally leaked. We have seen some cases where things have actually been kind of pulled apart, which is more of a problem, actually tearing things out. But that's entirely different. That's more of a physical issue. For the most part, if for example you had a EVGA hybrid card, radiator mounted above the card, should something happen like water spilled onto that hybrid card, we would bring it in for evaluation. If it looked like, yeah, that's manufacturing defect on that hybrid, then clearly we would replace it. As far as other components, it's going to vary. Those things are done case by case. As far as anything damaged, any other non-EVGA components in the system, officially we don't have warranty for other companies' products, and those companies should have warranties, but water is one of those things where it's such a sticking point for most warranties that we have to kind of deal with those on case by case. But in my experience, that's so extremely rare that it's not something you should really be worried about or even really consider when you're buying it, because AIOs these days are really great. I love using them myself in my own system.
Yeah.
Next question here. This is one we get a lot, and this is actually not something that I think we get specifically, but the entire GPU industry gets a lot, because GPUs in particular do have this effect. Coil whine. What is it, and what can I do about it?
Okay, well, yeah, coil whine is something we get questions about fairly often. It's pretty typical with high-powered electronics for them to produce coil whine, and usually that's going to be that high-pitched sound. It sounds like your ears are ringing, sort of thing. Coil whine tends to be more common in really high-powered electronics. If you go to like a car charging station, electric vehicle charging station, that thing has a lot of coil whine because it's dealing with really high voltage. But in general, what it is the components, usually a capacitor or inductor, as electricity passes through those components, it'll create a vibration, and most of the time that is outside of the audible range. Actually, every graphics card, pretty much any high-powered graphics card or high-powered component like a power supply, a lot of the components in there will produce coil whine. It's just out of the human's hearing range, and so sometimes that's within the human hearing range, and it can be quite annoying. We do have the ability to assist with warranty if that is the case. So if you do find you have coil whine and it's unbearable, you can just contact our support and we can try and determine if there's a way to reduce the coil whine or just warranty the card if need be.
Yeah, we do warranties for coil whine, which I don't know how many manufacturers actually do that. I know some actually don't do that, but I won't speak on that issue much. It's coil whine. The only thing that I'll say as far as an RMA, in some cases you may get it on a replacement, because when we test it here, we may not have anything, but in your particular system, you may have some, and you may want to try a different power supply, or even in a whole other system. And like you said, it is on a lot of different devices. Even this laptop here sometimes makes coil whine.
It is also important to note really quickly that sometimes it's a harmonic that is struck between two different components. So the power supply and graphics card that you have in your particular system might be what's producing that coil whine. So like he said, sometimes the coil whine is not producible or reproducible here in our RMA department. So that is one of those things that sometimes you might get another replacement and find that you do still have coil whine. So sometimes it's unavoidable.
Should be a different card that we send you though. So it shouldn't be coil whine came in and then we sent you that same card back. It should be a different card.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And then the last question, something we just wanted to cover, and we saw in some of the comments here. Just how do you start an RMA?
Yeah, we get it's a pretty common phone call. Hey, I've got one of your products. It has an issue. How do I start an RMA? So that's one of the first conversations that our techs tend to have with customers. To start an RMA, first thing you want to do is you want to set up an EVGA account at our website. Really good, evga.com. Right there on the home page in the upper right corner, there is a sign in button. That also lets you sign up for the account. Once you've done that, important to register the serial number of that product. The vast majority of our products will have serial numbers. Some of them won't, but most of them will. and you go to our service page and then product registration. And you put in your serial number, get that registered. If you have one, we recommend uploading an invoice. That's also on the service page. Once you've done that, you can either give us a call or you can start a support ticket on the EVGA website. To call us, 888-881-3842. That is a 24-hour number, so feel free to call us anytime. Email support@evga.com for US, North American regions, I should say. And then we also have for European and Taiwan as well. And the last way would be the support ticket, which is done on the EVGA website. Also under the service page, there's a support ticket that sends a message to us and is similar to an email. We'll answer it, but we have a little bit more information on your system, and we can start an RMA straight from those tickets, so it's always good to try that as well.
Yeah, and it is important to note that you do need to contact us to receive an RMA ticket. So a support ticket is separate from the RMA ticket, and we do have to submit that on our end after doing some potential troubleshooting or determining whether or not it is actually a hardware issue.
Yeah, I guess I should have started with that. Try to test the issue as much as you can. If you don't know, that's perfectly fine. That's why we have technicians. We can help you kind of test your issue, because ultimately you don't want to have a repeat issue. RMAing something that you didn't need to replace, and that's just going to cause more downtime. So we do try to troubleshoot as much as possible, and then we'll help you out with that replacement. All right. So
that pretty much wraps up this Ask EVGA segment. We do want you to leave more comments in the comment section below. We are going to look over those and try and filter out some other good questions that we see for future videos, and we'd like to keep this segment going.
Yeah, we really want to hear from you guys. What questions do you have for us? Upvote the ones that you like, and as long as we can answer them legally, we will answer them.
Yes. And then one other thing to note, we don't know when the next series graphics card is coming out. So, don't bother asking that. I mean, you can ask it if you'd like, but
we thought that was going to be question number one. When are the new cards coming out? We don't know.
Yeah, we simply do not know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe.